We're trying here to answer some reader questions that have come in during the time of the coronavirus crisis, and here's one that arrived a couple of days ago. Is it possible that under the stimulus bill that Congress passed and President Trump signed last week that some workers will actually make more in unemployment than they did before they got laid off? Well, oddly, the answer is yes in some cases, but it's not as illogical as it sounds. There's actually a good explanation, and here's what it is. The overall goal in the legislation was to extend the period of unemployment benefits for workers to 39 weeks from the 26 weeks that states pay on average, and there was a decision to throw in an extra $600 a week for the first 4 months of that period. So why that extra $600? Well, the hope was to make workers as whole as possible, to bring them as close to 100% of the wages they were earning as possible, because most states actually pay only about 2/3 of your full wages when you're on unemployment. The goal here was to make people whole so that the economic shock of the coronavirus would be lessened, but also to give people an incentive to stay home and not go out and look for work, because after all, everybody from President Trump on down to local officials is urging people to do that. Stay home until the threat of the coronavirus crisis is controlled. The problem is that most state unemployment systems are so antiquated that they don't know how to make that adjustment from 2/3 to 100%, even if they get the federal help to help pay for the 100%. So the decision was, let's just add $600 a week to accomplish the goal in short time, because there simply wasn't a long time to wait to get this system in place. So therefore, that means that some workers at the lower end of the wage scale might actually end up bringing home more in unemployment benefits with the extra $600. That caused some concern among Republicans in particular that the legislation might be creating an incentive for Americans not to go back to work. But Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, when he was speaking at the White House last week, said he wasn't worried about that.
I don't think it'll create incentives. Most Americans, what they want to keep their jobs. And I said for 50% of these businesses, they will have the businesses keep those jobs.
So it's an odd situation, but in a time of crisis and with very little time to work, that's where Congress and the states and the president ended up.